Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a true crime and makeup with me. This is using some e.l.f. products, and also I forgot to film an intro and an outro, so we're just going to jump right into the disappearance of the Yuba County 5. It's 1978 and 5 men mysteriously disappeared in Chico, California on their way home after a college basketball game. Their car was later found, and most of the bodies of these men were found. 4 of the bodies were recovered were frozen to death. They weren't found in the middle of nowhere. They were pretty close to a nearby town. The mysterious deaths of these men have been dubbed the American Duval Pass. This case shares similarities with the unexplained deaths of a group of Russian skiers that happened 20 years earlier. So what happened to these men in February 1978? Even today, this case remains largely unsolved, and there has never been a clear reason to why these men would get out of their car on this cold night and run into the snowy wilderness. On February the 24th, 1978, 5 men from Yuba City, Gary Mathis, Jack Hewitt, William Sterling, Jack Madruga, Theodore Ware, they left a college basketball game in Chico, 40 miles away from Yuba, in Madruga's car. All 5 men were to play a basketball game on the 25th the next day. All of the men had mental issues of varying sorts. These men had met at a local support group. 2 of the men, Madruga and Mathias, served in the U.S. Army. After the basketball game, the men stopped at a convenience store, grabbing some snacks before driving off into the night, and this is the last time any of the men were seen alive. All the families realized that the men never returned home that night, and the police launched an investigation. 4 days later, on February the 28th, they located the car. The car was found halfway up a mountain and nowhere near the route they would have taken to get home. Evidence in the car suggests that the men were in the car for some time before disappearing. There was candy wrappers and empty cartons and cans purchased in Chico, along with basketball programs of the game they had watched, and a neatly folded road map of California. The discovery of the car raised more questions. Where would they go? Why would they get out of the car? The car was stuck and had been spinning on its wheels, but it could have easily been pushed to a more stable ground, and it had gas. Families couldn't speculate to where the men had gone. No trace of the men was found, only the car. No sign of them anywheres, due to the thick, high level of snow, and nothing more could be done or investigated until the snow thawed. Then 3 months later, on June the 4th, a group of motorcyclists discovered a body, which was proved to be that of Ted Weir, in an unheated Ranger cabin a mile or so from where the car was discovered. He was shoeless, laying on a mattress with a makeshift shroud pulled over his body. Open cans of military rations littered the floor of the cabin. There was no signs of a fire being lit, even though there was matches and papers laying all around. They could have easily made a fire and not frozen to death, but they didn't. Further investigation proved that the exterior tank was full of propane, and if that had been opened, the cabin would have been full of heat. There was also other strange things with Ted's body. He had no shoes, fully clothed, and the bedside table held some of his personal belongings, along with a wristwatch that was missing a crystal, and it was confirmed it didn't belong to any of the missing men. Furthermore, he appeared to have 2 to 3 months of beard growth on his face. He also had lost more than 100 pounds. He was badly frostbitten and had died of starvation. But he died in a room with a cabinet stocked full of provisions that would have fed all 5 men for a year. It was locked and could have been easily broken into. The day after Ted was found, the remains of Madruga and Sterling were found. They lay on opposite sides of the roads of the trailer 11 miles from the car. Madruga had been partially eaten by animals, dragged about 10 feet to a stream, and he lay face up, and his right hand curled around his watch. Sterling was in a wooded area scattered over about 50 feet, and there was nothing left of him but bones. 2 days later, just off of the same road but much closer to the trailer, Hewitt's father found his son's backbone along with a pair of Levi's and shoes. They found his skull the next day about 100 yards downhill from the rest of the bones. The family's dentist was used to identify the remains, and searchers found 3 wool blankets and 2 cell flashlights laying by the road. And autopsy results determined that men died of exposure. Ted had lived in that trailer for 8 to 13 weeks. Several bed sheets were tightly tucked around his body, indicating someone else had been with him. One of the men, Gary Mathis, has never been found. He just simply disappeared. Oddly enough, his shoes were found in the cabin, and no one knows what happened to the men after they left the car and got into the trailer. The only thing the investigators have been able to piece together is that at some point 3 of the men left the trailer, perhaps to go to get help, and returned to find Ted dead. The neatly folded maps found in the car were never used, though this implies the men weren't lost. There was no damage done to the car, so this also implies the driver knew the road up the mountain. But none of the men had ever been there. What happened? Was there a 6th member of the group? Someone driving we don't know about? A 6th member responsible for the deaths of the Yuba County 5? This has been implied by a witness. Joseph Jones had driven up the same road, gotten stuck, and he was digging himself out and suffered a heart attack while doing so. He got back into the car. While waiting in his car, he heard whistling noise, and he looked up and saw a group of men and a woman with a baby in a light cast by another car some distance up the road, and the other car was McDrouga's car. He called out for assistance, and the other car shut off, and the noise just stopped. Another theory is that there was other stuff going on, and that the men had picked up a hitchhiker and in one way or another got control of the car. Maybe forced them out of the car, they stumbled off and found the trailer and died there. While 4 of the men are dead, 1 of the men is still considered missing. Gary's body was never discovered, and his family believes he might have been the cause of the entire incident, as he suffered from schizophrenia. He always took his meds, but there are reports of him becoming violent when he forgot to take his medication. If he forgot his medication that day, maybe he acted out, caused everyone to run away. Maybe he scared them. The police believe Gary took Ted's shoes and left the trailer. While he is still considered missing, investigators believe he fell victim to the elements and was never discovered because he might have been buried under the snow and his body decomposed. We might never know what happened that night. So many questions. Why didn't they heat the trailer? Why didn't they break the lock and eat the food? Why didn't they use the mats if they were lost? We'll never know. These questions may never ever be answered. But I thought that this was a fairly interesting disappearance surrounded by crazy things. And if you have not and don't know about the Duval Pass, definitely check that case out as well. It's super strange surroundings in that one as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup and true crime. Stay tuned for more videos like this. I plan on doing some more, and so definitely stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell, and check out my true crime playlist listed in the cards. And I hope you enjoyed this makeup look as well. And thank you so much, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.